Hey, I'm Hunt, and this is Hunt on LSU, your channel for LSU Fighting Tiger football talk. Enjoy the video. We want you to leave a comment below, hit that like button, and subscribe right below the video. Enjoy. Some big-time brands that are unfamiliar to LSU football on the schedule this year. USC in the rearview mirror. Oklahoma is the finale. UCLA, another one as they head to Tiger Stadium to take on LSU at 2:30 coming up on Saturday. Zach Anderson Yoxsimer covers UCLA from Locked On UCLA. Joins us now on the Jim's Firearms Hotline. Zach, thanks for the time. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me on. How about you?
We're doing quite well, and we appreciate it. Give me a vibe check in Westwood these days. Obviously, first year of a new era, both in terms of a coach and a conference, and it's been a little bit of a bumpy start. How are things in UCLA land right now?
I don't think they could be any worse at the moment.
Okay.
After a drubbing at the hands of Indiana to open Big Ten play, that's about as embarrassing as it gets for UCLA fans in football land.
So, were there lowered expectations entering the season with a difficult schedule and a new coach and the transfer portal era, or is this still a crisis situation after 2 weeks?
It's very much a crisis after two games. I think there's a lot of optimism from a lot of UCLA pundits, including myself, still thinking there's quite a few pieces from last year's team left over from Chip Kelly that made contributions. And there is some hope that maybe they could go bowling, but clearly through the first two games, that does not look like to be the case. There needs to be much improvement to even get to 3 wins this year. So kind of up in the air as to what they're going to look like this week and going forward.
Why was Deshaun Foster the guy that they tabbed to be the head coach after Chip Kelly left?
Well, I think it came down to the fact that UCLA, one, probably didn't have the money to fire Chip Kelly, didn't have the wherewithal to do it in November, and then they waited for Chip Kelly to leave. And when they waited so long for him to make his decision to leave to go to Ohio State, they were left without what was a pretty good class, I think, of head coaches available this year, and some probably would have been mutually interested in the Bruins. And then after it's all said and done, maybe some flirtation with P.J. Fleck, with Tony White, Deshaun Foster had that in-house relationship, even though he had left to go be the Raiders running backs coach and then come back to UCLA in a couple of months. It just seemed like they went with the quick, easy hire, somebody who knew the players that could keep the staff intact a little bit. And if you saw the picture when he got announced, the players absolutely loved it. It just hasn't translated into much success on the field so far through 2 games.
It's a big-time offensive coordinator hire. I'm imagining that there are a few people driving around or listening that are going to be surprised to learn this, that Eric Beny is the offensive coordinator at UCLA. Of course, he was there in Kansas City with Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid for a long time, interviewed for a lot of head coaching jobs in the NFL, ended up in Washington, and now has found his way to UCLA. What's he trying to get accomplished with the Bruins offense right now?
Well, it's very different from the MO with Chip Kelly. Chip Kelly, run the ball, simple passing routes. Well, then you've got Eric Beny, who got his big shot with the Commanders, comes to UCLA, and it's trying to utilize a receiver room in UCLA that's pretty good, an experienced redshirt senior quarterback, a running back room that's decent, some returning offensive linemen, and you'd expect this offense could have a lot more of a passing emphasis this year. Well, so far, Garbers' best game included 2 picks, 270 yards against Hawaii, where he looked anything but steady. And what he's trying to do is find a way to get more protection for Garbers. That was a concern last year, and it is a concern this year. And to use all these weapons they have they're available right now. And right now, that's been a big problem for the Bruins with the quarterback making poor decisions, dropping the ball, lack of protection. And right now, nothing's really going right for a coordinator who is not known to run the football.
I chuckled a little bit. I was listening to your podcast after the game last week, and you come off a bye week, and the first snap, the quarterback runs into the tailback, and they drop the ball. You've had 2 weeks to prepare, and it's just a disastrous start to the game. What were you thinking when you watched that?
That was, embarrassing. I mean, first to already have them down 7-0, you watch the defense get broken down, give up 3 third-down conversions. You're like, all right, you need a positive play. And UCLA has only led for 30 seconds this year, an offense that's not proven, and then they just drop the ball, and it's like, okay, that's just a recipe for a loss. There's nothing they can do. They're down 2 scores. It just felt so embarrassing and just, oh, no, this is going to be as ugly as it could be, and it ended up being the worst it could possibly be.
Tell us about Ethan Garbers. What does he do well?
Well, the idea is he's a great leader. He can lead the locker room. He's trying to digest a new offense that the rest of these guys have all struggled to understand through the spring into the summer, and it's kind of translated onto the field. What he's supposed to be is a good decision maker and a veteran presence in the locker room in this day and age of transition from Chip Kelly to Deshaun Foster. Well, the accuracy hasn't been there. The decision making hasn't fully been there. It just hasn't planned out. He's not exactly the best deep ball thrower, and the hope was he could just give it to the playmakers on the outside and they make plays better than the young options they have behind him. Now, maybe that could happen this week, and the last 2 seasons, Garbers has been absolutely bombarded in the backfield with limited protection on dropbacks. If he gets any protection, gets some confidence going forward, he could be a better quarterback in the Big Ten. Not the top quarterback, but he could be feasible. That he just has not shown over these first 2 games in this 24 season.
Zachary Anderson Yoxsimer is our guest, Locked On UCLA. If you're looking for a preview of the Bruins as game time approaches, you can go check him out at Locked On. Let's switch over to the defense. Obviously, UCLA had a great defense last year. LSU fans heard all about it in August because D'Anton Lynn moved over to USC, and that's obviously who LSU opened with. There are some remnants of that defense still left. What can you tell us about the strength of the Bruins?
Well, the strength is the linebacker room. They had Samuel Adejo, Kane Medrano. They're expected to have a healthy name, Ale Cajo. You guys might know him. He started at Alabama, then has been at UCLA for 4 years, injury-plagued. The secondary had a lot of transfers, so needs a lot of experience, but quite a few moving parts. And the interior defensive line is expected to be good. Now, 2 expected starters, Jay Sawia, Keanu Williams, have been injured and not really available to practice this week, making them questionable for this weekend. So the 2 best pieces on the D-line a little bit hurt. One of their starting linebackers has been limited in practice, and one of their better DBs, Kanye Clark, he left injured. So there's a lot of questions about this defense, but the linebacker room is still good. The secondary has made some plays, and yes, you're going to look at those Curtis Rourke numbers for Indiana, shredded the Bruins, close to 80% completion rate, 300 yards, 4 touchdowns, nothing near an interception. So it all comes down for the Bruins this year about if they can get pressure. If they get any pressure without needing to blitz consistently, that can allow the secondary to make some plays, which they did not do against Indiana.
Let's talk about weather, because I realize that sounds like it would be a big deal. You look at the weather in Southern California, it's gorgeous. It's still in the upper 90s. Here, they did just go to Hawaii. I know that. And it's been a pretty warm summer, I understand, in Southern California. So do you think standing in the heat at 3 o'clock in the afternoon when the real feel on the field is 101 is going to be adversely affecting UCLA?
I mean, I think it helps that going to Hawaii, they play that first game middle of the day. It's hot. It's humid. So they can't say humidity is a factor. They've dealt with that hot weather. In the bye week, it was really hot in the Los Angeles area. It was unbearably disgusting. You look at the Indiana game, it was perfect weather, cooled down by that time. But whenever there's a hot game, a road environment, Death Valley, all that mixed into one, that is a concern, especially when depth is a question for this team. So they got talented people, but they're going to rely on certain players again and again. The heat is always a factor, but it has been really hot. They've played in a game where it was hot. They've got the experience. It's just a very different environment, from 10,000 Rainbow Warrior fans to 100,000 screaming Tiger fans.
Give me your idea of disgustingly hot. I just want to hear what you think that is.
Ooh, I've had, it depends. I've been to the least attended UCLA game that was non-COVID, and that was at the Rose Bowl, 100-degree kickoff for an 11:30 a.m. kickoff. 100 degrees.
Okay.
That was disgusting.
That's what we call July through September here.
Yeah. So 90 degrees, 90% humidity, that can be pretty brutal, but I think they should be able to handle it. They've dealt it already, but it can be disgusting, yeah.
What kind of chance do you give UCLA on Saturday?
Chances are extremely, extremely slim. What are the lines? I think close to 24 points.
Yeah.
They're huge underdogs. If you want to go towards the SEC, you saw Kentucky gave Georgia a game. If UCLA wants to look around the country and see who did something similar, Kentucky was injured last week, right? They were coming off a dreadful performance the week before and taking on the then number 1 team in the country. probably didn't have a lot of expectations to come out and compete, even though they ended up losing. So if you want a game plan, UCLA needs, one, LSU to make a lot of mistakes. Two, not trail in the first 5 minutes of the game, build some confidence, but the chances are really slim because UCLA has one of their starting receivers out, 3 to 4 defensive starters, all limited in this week of practice to this point, and with no semblance of success on offense. It would be one of the bigger upsets in UCLA history for them to come into Tiger Stadium and put forth a winning effort.
Are you headed down to Louisiana?
I am. I'm flying at the crack of dawn tomorrow, and I'll be at Tiger Stadium, so I'll be super excited for that.
Awesome. Well, you got my number. You need any recommendations or anything, you hit me up. Safe travels down to South Louisiana. We appreciate some time.
All right. Sounds good. Thank you very much.
Hey, thanks for watching Hunt on LSU. Before you get out of here, do us a couple of favors. Hit that like button, leave your comments below, and subscribe to the channel for all your Fighting Tiger football talk. See you next time.